Great. Can you explain what went into the kind of heavy rotation tonight?
Yeah, it's third game in a short period of time. I think just in the summer months, it's hot, it's humid. At the end of the last game, a lot of guys tanks were very empty. So I made a calculated move to try to bring just an energetic group on the field to push the tempo at the start, knowing that we would have guys to come on and try to push the game at the end with some quality, extra quality to try to win. And the problem was we didn't come out with any energy in the first. Everything was very stagnant, slow, passive, too soft. The goals we gave away are ridiculous. So it didn't work for us in terms of rotating the guys. It was an opportunity. It should have been a group of guys that were very eager to go out and really try to push it and prove something, and it just came out real slow. Like I said, in passive. We made a couple moves, became more aggressive in the second half. We were able to really pin them back. The third goal for me is just killer, because at 2-0, with the quality of the group that was coming on and the amount of pressure we were putting them on, I think we have a real chance to get back into that game. Because if we get to 1-0, then the next one looks a lot closer in terms of MASH. But the third goal was not only ridiculous in terms of how we dealt with it, but and it was costly in the course of the game. So there's always, with these third games this time of month, I feel like a lot of our guys are physically in very different places. We've had a lot of guys in different, either coming back from injury, guys who were away with CONCACAF, guys in a lot of different places, and my hope was to get through this game effectively and be able to get guys on a lot closer, a little bit of recovery, a lot closer to being on the same page at the start of next week as we push forward for the next series of games, which doesn't consist of a lot of midweek games for us. So again, it didn't work out.
Coach, the poor start, you think, was that sort of display maybe a depth problem, or what was it about the starting 11 that you think didn't work?
It was an intensity problem. I don't know if I don't think it's necessarily a depth problem, because if you look through that group, there's some good players in the group, but it lacked intensity, it lacked direction and leadership on the field, I thought. And with that, it all just kind of became passive. And they were able to play to one forward, and their one forward gave two of our center backs plus our defensive midfield all kinds of trouble, 1 against 2. And so it was just too passive. That it lacked intensity and purpose and aggression when you're at home and you want to go for it. And in the end, it was too comfortable for them. I could see that in their first possession. We had them locked up in the corner, and we don't even try to win the ball. We're just kind of like circling around them. They play out of it. And my concern right in that moment is that we were too passive. And it was on their first possession that I was concerned that that's where we were, from a mentality standpoint.
Rick, as you said, the team was making some kind of comeback in the second half, and then that third goal happens. How does that goal even get scored?
I don't even know how to explain it. It's one guy against like 5. And for us to not be able to end that play, and there are multiple ways to end the play. You can win the ball, or you can even commit a foul and end the play. But for him to get through 5 of our guys and to get an on goal is just completely inexcusable. I can't even explain how we even get into that situation, because it doesn't register to me. We can double team. It looked like Laurent maybe got stepped on a little bit, then he stops, then he rejoins late, and the guys recovering don't recover in a position to protect our goal and win the ball. It was Keystone Cops.
Do you review your assessment of some of your talent after a performance like this?
For sure. I do believe we have a very competitive group, and if guys, if their performances fall off, then I think we've got other guys who step up, and then they drop a little bit deeper in the pecking order. So again, opportunities right now when our team is healthy and full. When you get them, you've got to prove something in them, or else again you become a little bit farther away from the field than you were maybe the night before. So these are, when our team wasn't so deep and we had a lot of guys away, if you don't have a great performance, maybe you get another chance. This is one where maybe you don't get another chance. We'll see.
So, Coach, to use a boxing metaphor, a 1-2 punch the first 25 minutes.
Yep.
Do you think you guys were stunned, that even though Josie came in the second half and got that header, but do you think you guys were still stunned from the first half?
You know, I think the two goals in the first half stunned us for the first half a little bit. I think there was, it might have caught us a little bit by surprise that it was just so easy to get 2 goals on us. Because even in the attack, our running was passive, our play was too slow, everything that there wasn't a sense that we were going to at that moment get ourselves in. That's why we immediately at halftime made 2 subs to inject something different into the. I think we're on the front foot at the start of the first half, and then I think the third goal really is a kicker. Kudos to the guys after the third goal because they kept pushing. They get one back, potential PK call on the ball that bounces up and hits his hand. I think the new rule might apply in terms of handballs to that not being a handball. I think in the past, if they apply it normally, I think that's potentially a handball. But I think we were pushing. If we get the second goal, then the weight of the world goes on to Houston to try to stop us. But the third goal I thought was took a little bit of emotional steam out of us for a period of time, but we were able to get it back together and continue to push for something.
It's very rare that you've given Bradley and haven't started him when he's healthy. Well, I presume he was healthy?
Yeah, he was healthy. Again, it's I never come into a game thinking, oh, I plan in advance. I want to give Michael Josie. It's for me again. Michael will say, and you know maybe to his credit, he was ready to play. He wanted to play. All those kinds of things. He never wants off the field. The way I looked at this one was for him, for Josie. Josie hasn't played 3 games, started 3 games like this in a short period of time in a long time, and I didn't want to put him in that risk. I wanted to shorten his exposure, 45 to 30 minutes. For Michael, he's not a guy I've really ever taken off and not started a game. For me, again, it was a calculated play to see if I could give him mid-season after coming back from being with the Gold Cup and playing 2 very difficult games, if I could benefit a few days for him and not have him empty the tank tonight in a game and be able to give him 4 or 5 days into the middle of next week to just kind of recover, that he would probably profit or benefit from that for the remainder of the season. We were able to do half of that. We brought him in still in the second half, so he didn't probably empty his tank, but for sure he got a training session out of it, if nothing else, in terms of workload. But the hope was, again, that by mid next week that more of our guys would be physically in the same place. My little bit of assessment of the last 2 games at the end of games, that we had a hard time closing them out a little bit just because we physically were still in very different places in terms of recovery, in terms of getting our legs under us, our fitness, and so we tried to use this game as one of those to get ourselves all back on the same page. It didn't work out.
Thanks, guys.